Matter of fact, I'm going live. It's funny. I'm on two other talk shows right now that they pre-recorded me. One is the Real Tea, and I forgot the other talk show, but they are featuring me right now on their talk show. So people are like, Vicky, which show do we watch? Do we watch yours? Do we watch theirs? So that was pretty funny. Watch this one, and then you can look at that one later. So watch this one, not to confuse everybody. But thank you for the support. Good gracious, they have questions, and that's good. All right, we're going to get started with Talk Blog. It's almost finished. You know, it takes Talk Blog a minute to do the introductions. And we're asking everybody to come on in. Good gracious, they've got questions. I don't see our guest, but I don't see any calls or anything from her. So it's all good. We'll tackle it. Come on, log in. So hello. Welcome to IITG Season Sisters Speak. I'm your host, Victorianne Russell Walton, and I've got my guy with me as always. Make sure I point the right way. It's this way. Point this way. Warren Green. And we're going to talk about grief. And we are going to talk about, really, I wanted to do a full line of grief, how eating certain foods affect your attitudes, what's going on today with current issues. And I want to get started really with what's going on with my son. So my son, unfortunately, has pneumonia. And I didn't realize how bad pneumonia is and how scary it can be. But one thing that really blew my mind is it being in the hospital. I don't know if people know this or not, but there are an overwhelming virus going on in our community where our children are being attacked with some upper respiratory virus. And Warren, there was no standing room. There are no beds available in Washington, D.C. Children's Hospital. Thank God we went by ambulance. And that was one of the ways that David was able to be seen immediately. And we didn't have to wait. But my God, I felt so bad for those moms in the hallway with their children and I mean infant babies. And it was horrible. It was really horrible. So I was saddened, that they were there, but blessed that David and I, went by ambulance so we could be seen. So there is something going on out there that is attacking our babies. So that was really, again, scary to see. But what is your take on that? The overwhelming.
An upper respiratory infection could easily lead to pneumonia. That's only fluid in the lungs. So
Right.
That would be the natural progression to an upper respiratory infection. That's where the fluid would go.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Again, I'm praying for everybody, especially those that were there, and the moms and the poor little babies crying their little hearts out because they couldn't breathe. And I don't think we realize how bad this really is.
And they still haven't got a vaccine for the children yet, right?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, and so let's talk about that. Vaccine for the children.
They still haven't got a vaccine for the children.
Yeah. Right? So is that something that we should be looking forward to? Do you think it's too young for these babies to get the vaccine?
I don't think so. If did they diagnose David with the virus?
Say that one more time, Warren. I'm sorry.
Did they diagnose him with the virus?
No, he does not have COVID. He just has and I shouldn't say he just has. He has pneumonia.
And pneumonia is the effect.
Right.
So something happened to give him pneumonia.
Yeah, one of those little German kids sneezing on him.
Okay, it could be bacteria or viruses or something. Something will give you pneumonia.
Yeah.
And that's what your immune system is supposed to protect you against, because you're going to be exposed to everything, everywhere.
Yeah.
Just the way
Viruses are everywhere, and there's really no way to combat it unless you're going to live in a bubble. But
it's
even
your
then,
immune system. That's what
yeah,
protects you from it. Like just like chickenpox. And if he got chickenpox now, it might not even express itself until he was
later.
60.
Wow. And I don't think we realize what our bodies, and we say this all the time, our bodies were always fighting something. There was viruses that our bodies were fighting. We just didn't know it. So now it's like we've been in the house. So when we come outside, our bodies are, they don't have, to me, what they need to fight these viruses now. I mean, think about it. We've got three major viruses going on right now. We have the COVID, we have the Delta, and we have the C12. So that came from South Africa, as they say. So, I mean, how our bodies are looking at these viruses and thinking, first of all, you're not eating right. So you're not giving me anything to fight with. Right, Warren?
Right. Well, all of them are mutations of SARS.
Right.
So that's what it is. So and they're going to mutate. They're
Mm,
just going to mutate.
yeah.
All SARS does is mutate.
Because it
So it's
wants to
floating.
live. It's a virus.
Right. So it's always gonna be with us.
Hmm.
And so the only way to protect yourself is by what you consume. And because we have such toxicity in the environment, including in the food chain, we have weakened immune systems.
We do. We do. And we said this before, you are what you eat. And if you're eating junk, then you're a bag of junk. If you're eating healthy, then you're healthy. But I don't think people understands the triggers as well. Like, we know dairy products trigger asthma and trigger anything that have to do with the lungs. What's your opinion about that, Warren?
Well, I think dairy is absolutely unnecessary after the mother's weaned. That's always been my.
You've always said that.
I mean, it's just after your mother's weaned. There's no natural ability for you to get to be able to get dairy unless they kill an animal. You can't get it. When your mother weans you, nature is saying that you no longer
That's
need the
it.
nutrients from there.
Yeah, that's it.
So if you continue to do it, 90% of the population of the world can't process dairy, and they don't have the gene, they don't have the DNA to process it. And if that's the case, what it's not doing your body any good. Now it might not be damaging it a lot, but it's clearly damaging it if your body can't process it. It's not doing it any good. But
Well,
we don't look at it like that. But
yeah.
it's not doing us. There's no sense putting something in your body that's not beneficial.
Well, I would like to dab a little bit in, and I see everybody's questions. Hi, everybody on all social media platforms. Thank you for tuning in today to IITG Season Sisters Speak. I'm Victorianne Russell Walton, along with Warren Green, and we're talking today about grief and how food affects your attitudes, and what you eat affects your mood swings, and overall affects your body. I do know that certain chocolates give us good feelings, but we also know that drinking milk and eating cheese clogs up and gives us a lot of mucus in our body that we don't need. So we were going to talk about grief. I'm not for sure what happened to our guest today. I've called her and she is unavailable. Maybe they're having a problem. I don't know if there's a storm there. There's storms everywhere that's popping up. But Warren and I, we're well enough to equipped to handle any conversation. So we're going to talk about grief. And the reason why I wanted to talk about grief is because, and the attitudes with food is because, I know me personally, my family and I and my sisters, I mean, we're getting phone calls almost every day of someone passing away. And I don't think we understand the emotional part of when someone dies, how that really affects us. So, and overeating, the emotional attachment to going through a stressful situation, all of those things are attached. So the first thing I want to talk about, Warren, with you is, and I have my questions right here. We've already talked about milk, and that was another question. If my child is an asthmatic, he still wants milk. Can I give him almond milk? Milk, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out almond milk. So what do you think, Warren?
I think it's an excellent substitute. It's
Mm-hmm.
plant based, and I think that's what you might want to do, because animal based food might not be the healthiest thing,
Yeah.
not for children, because they need that. And I hope that she's breastfeeding,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it is. And if you're breastfeeding, then that's, you do that until nature weans you, and then that should be the end of dairy. So
And
any
we
substitute that you might want to use is a good thing.
and we've
I
talked
think I use almond milk and
Mhm.
oat milk and soy milk myself, and I've been using it for years.
I just started with almond milk, and now they have oatmeal milk. The oatmeal milk was a little different, but it tastes good. It's from oatmeal, so I figured it couldn't hurt anything.
Well, you got food scientists and food technologists that can determine flavor profiles that
Right.
can make anything taste like
Like anything.
anything. The
Yeah.
milk lobbyists, the cow milk lobbyists, probably keep them from. They tried to stop them from saying that it was milk at all, so they could make it taste exactly like cow's milk if they wanted.
Wow. That's scary.
I
That's
think that's good, but
it's
because we're not, I don't believe that human beings are carnivores anyway.
yeah, we talked about the meat and how those things affect on us. And we will talk again about the milk, because again, if your child is asthmatic, I know a lot of times the free programs you can get regular 100% whole milk, even though our bodies are telling us we don't want it. And they tell us that by eczema, they tell us that by congestion, they tell us that by asthma, they tell us that the body doesn't want it because your body is throwing it up and you can't take it. So I often tell people to listen to your body, because your body will tell you, I'm sorry, everybody has questions. Your body will tell you what you need. I love it that everyone has questions. So, and we're going to talk about stress eating.
And even more,
Mhm.
your taxpayer dollar subsidizes it.
Yeah.
I mean, they not. It's not innocuous. We have to subsidize it. We are subsidizing, and particularly ethnically, African Americans and Asians can't tolerate milk at all.
Isn't that amazing that they can't?
And so it's
But
doing some damage. I mean, people, they don't understand that it's doing so. It might not be damage, and it's acute damage, but it's sure chronic,
hmm
and it's sure going to affect you somewhere down the line in the form of arthritis or hypertension, or because your body can't process it.
wow. I don't think we really understand that, because I was trying to explain to a young mother that she was saying that her child always throw the milk up, and I was trying to explain to her he's throwing the milk up because he can't tolerate it. But you keep trying to give it to him, and he's telling you, his body is telling you,
But is
he
it
can't.
her milk or is it some?
It's canned baby milk.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what
And
she should try her milk.
yeah, I don't know why she's not. I don't know why she stopped. I don't know if she thinks it's easier or faster, but his body is definitely telling you that he can't tolerate it. Okay, all these questions. My gosh. Okay. I know you hear the phone beeping. These are questions coming in, which I think is awesome. So we're going to get to them as soon as we can. Okay, everybody? As soon as we can possibly get to the questions, we're going to get to them. So one of the questions was grief and overeating. Eating is sometimes it is emotional. And you will eat when you're stressed, you'll eat when you're upset, you'll eat when you're sad. We eat when we're happy. And sometimes it's not the best choice, especially if you're stress eating. I know I used to come in and, come in from work and I'm so hungry and I'll just grab whatever potato chips, guacamole, French fries, anything that was quick, fast in my hand. I would grab it and I would eat it. And then now I'm bloated and I'm sick. So we know emotional eating has a lot to do with stress. So if you know you're stressed and you know you're emotional eating, I think you should put a game plan in part. It's just like you never go to the grocery store to get groceries when you're hungry, right? Because you never get what's on your list. You get Oreos and you get all kind of crazy stuff and you look at your list and it's like, that wasn't on my list, but you were just so hungry, you just put everything in there. So come up with a game plan of when you are an emotional eater. Like I keep peanuts and hummus and carrots and pita bread and spinach bread. Those are my go-to when I feel like I need something or I'm working on something and I need something. That's what I reach for. But while we're grieving, let's talk about. We're gonna have an adult conversation. Let's talk about funeral food. Funeral food is a food that'll put you right beside the person that has just passed away. Because a lot of times that consists of fried chicken, ham. A lot of times it consists of fried foods, greasy foods. Very rarely do you see a salad on the table. I see the greens, but I asked one lady, I was like, that's a lot of grease and greens. And she said, oh, that's butter. I've never heard of anybody cooking collard with butter. I've never heard of that. So let's talk about funeral foods, Warren, and trying to do better with planning the funeral and not having everybody else laid down beside you.
Well, I think food is fuel. I think the mindset has to make it. People have to get away from using food as a crutch.
Hmm.
It's fuel. Just
Right.
like when you fill your car with gas, it's only fuel. Period. It's not there for comfort. It's not there for anything. It's only for fuel. If you need to really get deep into your mind about why you're eating and what you're eating for, we talk a lot about what are the essential nutrients that you need. I think particularly when you start getting ill and everything else, you need to start thinking about, well, why am I eating and what am I eating for? And
Hmm.
and what is the value of what I'm putting in my body? Because we know that if your body can't process it, it's going to store it somewhere
Yeah.
or it's not going to be healthy for you. So, I mean, I don't know why you would have to plan to feed somebody after. Maybe that's a social norm. I
Hmm.
haven't even had it lately where we have the reprise. I don't usually go, but nevertheless, I don't know that you have to plan for that. To me, I really don't. I don't know why it's necessary to have to plan to feed people after while you're grieving.
Well, that's the repast and everybody coming back together and sharing stories and taking pictures and showing love and support. Um, but I my God, there's been so many funerals going on, and I've often wondered. It's another perfect example is I went somewhere 2 weeks ago and it was a breast cancer event, and on the table, Warren, was sodas, juice, donuts, croissants, um, bagels. I was looking for fruit. I was looking for freshness. I was looking for something that didn't have carbs. And there was nothing. And I finally asked, I said, can someone bring some water out? And the lady said, oh, well, there's juice and sodas on the table. I said, I know, but I would really like some water. And so the options when we go out are oftentimes slim. And so the lady said, oh, well, I guess we have a couple of bottled waters. And, I'm thinking to myself, this is a breast cancer event. You should have water as an alternative, because a lot of time that is that I mean, we'll grab the sodas and it's like, well, all they have is sodas. I'll drink the sodas. And we all know diet sodas are just as bad as regular sodas. So, telling me there's a Diet Coke, I don't drink Diet Coke. I just wanted some water. And so we need to be mindful when we go out, and those that are planning need to be mindful of what we're putting on the table. But Warren, have you ever gone out to an event and, all they had was carbs and sodas?
I've been to cancer events and they had stuff that was carcinogenic, and to me it's a farce. What I mean, what do you put? How can I talk about what we should avoid and so forth and so on, and then we go right back and
Yeah.
consume it, and
Yeah.
including dairy, cheese, and
Hmm.
that you have to really be sensitive to what you're putting in your body. And one thing I should tell you though, I've been doing. In fact, I'm about to do a thing on flavonoids, and one of the primary flavonoids that you would love is coffee,
Yeah.
and it's really beneficial. Period. And I have. I'm looking at studies that saying that flavonoids or that are in coffee and tea actually mitigate cancer.
Really?
Yeah. So when you say you drink 4 or 5 cups a day, that might not be such a bad thing. And matter of fact, that might have been helping control yours.
Hmm. I am a huge, huge coffee drinker. My favorite coffee is chocolate and chipotle flavored.
Yeah, they all and
I R-O-N.
that always has a lot of flavonoids, and that's they're part of flavonoids.
Yeah. So, Warren, let speaking of coffee and teas, we all know when we eat certain things, it affects how we feel. And when we have a good feeling with different foods, that's what we tend to lean on. So, with speaking with food and depression, I know eating a lot of sugar can cause depression, fear, anger, shame, and grief.
Yeah, well, if your body can't process it, it really can't.
Hmm.
It's going to cause you to feel. It's going to affect your mood.
Right.
It probably should, only because it's doing damage.
Yeah.
So how could it not affect your mood?
Well, I know when I eat something I'm not supposed to, I feel great for the moment, but then it's like, my husband may not know, but it'll definitely show up in my blood work. So I try to be mindful, because I have people, say, Vicky, you can have another little piece of cake. And it's like, I already just had one big piece of cake. So cheating, you may not, your spouse may not know you're cheating. Your family may not know you're cheating, but that blood work will tell that you're cheating. So, one, I often say using cane sugar to make sweets is a lot better, but it's sugar, sugar, sugar.
Well, sugar is not the culprit. You look at it because of the carbohydrate, and it's a refined carbohydrate. I don't know that is the culprit. That's for quick energy, and that's what it does.
Hmm.
But what you want to consider is what are your essential nutrients and how do you get them? You want to get the highest quality essential nutrients in your body. That's what you want. So the protein, and it doesn't matter whether it's meat protein or plant protein, because your liver doesn't know. All it knows is protein.
Right.
So you want to get the highest quality protein in you. Your fatty acids. Well, your liver doesn't know where your fats are coming from, but we know that the monosaturated and the polysaturates, like olive oil, are the best fatty acids that your body loves. That's what you want to put. That's what that would be. What that would be what you want to put in your body. If you're going to fry, I just found out this out lately. If you're gonna fry, if you have to fry, olive oil might be the best medium that you could use to fry. Now I understand that you can heat it a little more than I thought you could, but
Really?
yeah. So I think it'd be awfully expensive to use olive oil to fry,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, it'll be healthier than using anything else.
Wow. Well, or air fryer. I love my air fryer.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm sorry, I've got robins and blue jays at my window, and it's absolutely beautiful. I guess they're telling me hi. I love it when the birds stop by. That's just awesome. So, wow, they're just cute to look at, Warren. But I'm sorry, everybody. They say when the blue jays and the red robins are visiting, the ancestors are thinking about you. So that's nice that they're thinking about me. But getting back to olive oil, I was always told olive oil. So that's good that you just said that, because I was always told olive oil you don't use to fry, but now you can use it to
I
fry.
just had, and in fact, I'm dealing with somebody who I had somebody at one of my lectures that was discussing her product, and she just sent me information and I researched it from the NIH that in fact you can use it to fry. In fact, it's better to use that to fry than most things, which is interesting. I never thought that way. I never knew that, but
Isn't that something? We're gonna have to have another discussion about olive oil, because that's something I was always told that was a no-no. So that's great to know. And I see your questions. I'm going to get to everybody's questions. I promise. This is IITG Season Sister Speak. I'm your host, Victorianne Russell Walton, and I have my man, co-host Warren Green on the line. And today we're talking about grief and eating, and trying to stay healthy while you're grieving. I know that there are a lot of funerals going on, and there are a lot of sickness still going on, and we're just trying to get you to be the best whole and healthy you can be. And this is how we can educate you on, and that's on what I know. I may not know a lot, but I always bring people in my circle that do, and that includes Warren Green. So we're always excited to have him on our team, because again, I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I know how to get sharpened. So Warren brings his expertise to the table. So we're going to tell everybody on Talk Blog Radio, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to speaking with you next week. And for those of you who want to hang out, please hang out. If you have any questions, please type your questions in. I am listening and looking. And I appreciate everybody taking their time out to be with us today. So, Warren, oh, and I forgot to do our commercials. So I'm all over the place this for October. October, Pinktober is right around the corner, and I am everywhere. Starting tomorrow, I am. I will be on NBC News. I will be on Good Morning Washington, D.C. I am, they're doing an unveiling tomorrow of me as a superhero character. I want to have to send you that link so you can watch the award ceremony. Absolutely awesome. I'm a part of a documentary with Oncology University. Oh my gosh, I'm with Pushing Pedals at First Baptist Church of Glenarden Cycle Club this Saturday. I'm doing Glenda Kosar's breast cancer. Go to my webpage and check it out, www.it'sinthegenes.com, and look at our calendar. I am everywhere, and at the end of the month, we're going to end it with me being in Atlanta. The 23rd, we're going to be in Virginia Beach having a mini pinky party. So check our calendar out, see where your girl is, and we're excited about being a part of, and we are excited about educating in the name of breast cancer. Please be aware of all the scams that are going on. Do not take pictures without finding out how much these pictures are. Warren, the lady wanted to charge me $1,600 for pictures. And she told me it would be a keepsake for David. Well, David has a digital camera, and he can take all the pictures he wants. And I would be foolish at a time where we don't know, where the jobs are and what's going to happen, that I would spend $1,600 on pictures. Not going to happen with me. I mean, she pulls out all the stops. So there's scams out there. you want $1 million, go to Walmart, get us a card and send it back to us. So just be careful. All right, everybody, lots of scams. We should all know now. Support each other, love each other. And we at IITG, we are also taking donations. So if you want to donate to us, go to our homepage, www. It's in the Genes, and we would love your support. You know what we're doing in the community. So we would love your support. All right, so let's dive back into this food and grief. When talking about food and grief, self-care isn't an option. You should, like Warren said, eat to live, not live to eat. And it should be balanced. Um, David may not like all vegetables, but he loves broccoli, carrots, applesauce, spinach, sometimes salads. He is introduced to green foods. Warren, how does it affect the body when you don't give it any nutrients, when you don't give it any vitamins, when you don't give it any vegetables and fruits?
Well, the body will usually crave what it needs, but the body might not be able to distinguish it. Might, for instance, if it needs iodine. Well, the only source of iodine it might think it needs is a potato chip, or something where as a potato, baked potato, is going to give you your iodine. So it's gonna force you to create. And I say this, I think I said it a long time ago. My mother used to, when she was pregnant, she used to eat starch, like the argo starch that you use. And I recognized then that there was her body was craving something, a carbohydrate, and so then you probably need carbs when you're pregnant, and period, because you're growing something inside of you. So your body will usually tell you, and if you don't respond to your body after a fashion, well, then it's going to break down.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
So when we talk about grief, and when we talk about grief eating and the best foods to eat, when you are going through and you are emotional, is there like a list of foods? Matter of fact, I should list it on my website. A list of foods that we should kind of focus on. We talk about fruits, we talk about vegetables, and we talk about omega fats and fish and, scallops. What should we stay away from when it comes to emotional eating?
I tend to think about food as essential nutrients because I no longer think of it as something for pleasure. If it happens to be pleasure, that's just a bonus. I think of essential nutrients. What does my body need? And then I work from there, and I probably design my diet that way. What does my body? I know my body needs X amount of protein. What is the highest quality protein that I can put in my body? The one that probably has omega-3, one that's going to give me all the nutrients that I need. They call this thing now, that whole way of looking at things, as nutraceutical, as opposed to pharmaceutical, nutraceutical. And that's they coined a new phase for the whole thing, to using food as medicine.
Right.
Nutraceutical.
But Warren, food was our medicine growing up.
Yes.
Food was how we healed ourselves growing up. I tell people all the time, I want you to stop and think. When Big Mama hurt herself or had a headache, or there was a burn or a scratch or a scar, whatever, eczema, whatever, they didn't run to the grocery store. They didn't run to Walgreens. They figured out what was in the backyard, in the ground, that they needed to make it better. And that's exactly what happened. Big Mama and Daddy figured out what it was that would enhance our bodies. Like, we know almonds and certain nuts gives us energy. We know wheatgrass gives us energy. My God, if you want to stay up for 3 days in a row, eat wheatgrass. That'll keep you up.
Well, when they talk about like Columbus, even when they say, well, he was looking to sell for spices. Yeah. Well, spices was the medicine in them days. Turmeric, nutmeg, cinnamon. That's what they use for things like headaches and illness. That's what they use. Roots. I mean, penicillin it comes from a root.
Right.
Well, that's what they refined it, in the lab, and then made it that. But that's what it's all about.
You know, when I was younger, a friend of mine, I think I was 18 or 19, a friend of mine gave me a book. Shout out to Tony. And it was an African herbal book. And I've had it all these years. And for some reason, I don't know where that herbal book is. But there was a plant that they would boil and they would drip it in the eye and it numbed the entire body. And I said, that's remarkable because I've always been, in the words of my granny, a nosy child, but I've always wondered, well, how did they do back then what we're doing now? How did they do the cesareans? How did they, operate or do manual things? Somebody, they had to have numbed it somehow. But there was this plant that they used and they boiled it and they dripped it in the eye. And I'm thinking, well, why the eye and why not up the nose? And something about how the eye nerves go to the entire body. It was just an awesome read, and I can't find that book to save my life. But it's amazing because the earth has always given us what we need to sustain ourselves. I mean, every pill that we take has what, 30 side effects to it?
Well, look at the animals. A puppy, a dog will know to if it's having digestive problems to eat grass.
Yeah.
I mean, they know. So it's not something that they had to figure out. It's
Right.
always been around.
Mm-hmm.
We get away from it because of marketing. They make it here. It's easier for you to take this pill.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's easier to take a pill and for you to be sick than to cure you and for you to be whole and
They
healthy.
treat the symptom, of course.
Right. They'll make you comfortable, but they're not trying to cure you. And that's what's going on with cancer. I mean, because look at COVID. They got a vaccination and zero point 0.3 seconds flat. And poor little cancer patients are still donating and frying fish and selling dinners. And we still don't have anything yet. We're not
Well,
going to
they
get.
knew the science already. They already knew the science and how to genetically engineer the DNA for
Mm-hmm.
this vaccine. They knew that decades ago. The point is they didn't have an application for it because the virus hadn't expressed itself. It wasn't dangerous to humans. So when it all of a sudden affected humans, the whole question is, was that done by design? Did
Well,
they did they did they expose humans to it to sell vaccines? Because each vaccine shot costs $40.
wow.
And they're taught, now we're in the billions or trillions of doses of vaccine now. Look at all of that money. It's amazing.
It is. It is amazing. A trillion and millions of dollars. So another one of the questions is, I'm actually doing what Warren told us to do, and that's journal. Good job. But I see myself eating a lot of salt and craving a lot of salt, but I need it. What can I substitute for the salt?
Well, why
Why do you need it?
salt? We,
Yeah.
you don't. I
Yeah.
mean,
You don't
you
need
have
it.
to wean from salt because it's going to retain water. It's a whole lot of things that it does. So you probably want to eliminate that as much as you can from your diet. You're going to crave things. In fact, it's going to be maybe like a nightmare when you try to remove something that you've been eating all your life from your diet and oh wow, and your body's going to start craving it because it's going to want you to demand this, and I want you to
Mm-hmm.
put some of this in you to ease it, and you know that if you did a little salt you'd feel better, but you might
Can you
really want to.
substitute for garlic, Warren?
I beg pardon.
Can you substitute it for garlic?
Sure,
Okay.
that would be the ideal substitution. Garlic
Uh,
is an excellent food.
mhm. Okay, so this question, and we touched on this a little bit. Vicky spoke that sugar causes depression. Does it also causes? Okay, we're not going to ask that. That sounds like you need to talk to a professional. Um, And that's a mental health question. And what Warren and I are giving you are our opinions, and we can't tell you what will work as far as suicidal tendencies. And I want to remind everybody that if you need to talk to someone about suicidal tendencies, there's nothing wrong with you speaking to someone. Okay, writing it on a sheet of paper and throwing it out the window is that's not going to help most of us. So I want you to understand there's nothing wrong with you getting help, but that is a question for a professional. So you need to speak with a professional. I know my lane, so I want you to get the help that you really need to get. Okay.
And read the side effects. In any medication you take, there's going to be side effects on it. Read it thoroughly. In fact, even go further and go into your phone or go into or Google it and read all of the side effects of things. I take Luprin, which is a hormone for my cancer. I didn't even read it. My doctor didn't inform me that, in fact, it could cause a heart attack instantly.
Wow.
But then so can non-steroid pain relievers, like aspirin.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those can cause that. Any medication has side effects. In fact, everything has side effects. Food, everything has side effects.
Yeah, everything does. I mean, it's like Warren says, cause and effect. You know, I sit back and read some of these warning signs and listen to these commercials. And most of these commercials, you know, may cause death, may cause heart attacks, may cause stroke. And the commercial is for a rash.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it could cause death. That's remarkable.
You might as well keep the rash and instead of taking the medication, and you may end up dead or a heart attack. So that's just funny to me that we have to go through all of these situations just trying to be whole and better again. So what should I eat to keep a happy mood? Ooh. What should I eat to keep a happy mood?
Well, if you take care of your essential nutrients and so forth and so on, after 3 or 4 weeks, you should be feeling good.
Yeah.
And if you feel good, you're going to be in a good mood.
Right.
I mean, you want to be, so you have to to repair yourself nutritionally to be in a good mood. And you can't be in a good mood if you have issues because of dietary things.
Right. Right. You can't. And you know, Warren, you've said it before. 30 days. If you stop your bad habits after 30 days, it's just a memory. If you can stop it from 30 days, you can make it. And 30 days is not that long.
And you'll feel well after that, and you'll start feeling good. Yeah. Your mood must follow. If you feel good, your mood will follow.
So I am not a red wine drinker, but my husband took me to this beautiful carriage ride through the country, and they stopped off at a winery, and they had cheese and they had fruit and they had vegetables, and you know, it was just beautiful. And Warren, I tried red wine. So there was a rosé that I absolutely loved. It wasn't dry, it didn't choke me up. And I said, you know, this is something I can add to my menu that I really like, because wine is good for the heart. So the question is red wine really good for the heart?
Absolutely. It's an essential part of the Mediterranean diet, as a matter of fact. If you're going to do it, they recommend red wine. I started, and there's millions of wines. I mean, every culture has probably hundreds. So it's hard to say I don't like wine when there are millions of them. You couldn't possibly have tasted all of the wines that they have in the world, just everywhere. But the Canadian Food and Drug Administration, I saw something maybe many, many decades ago that said that they thought that wine would be beneficial for your cardiovascular, for cancer, and everything else. Now, they couldn't say that in the United States. They wouldn't say that because, you know, the United States at the time was relatively prudish. So they said, well, then maybe grape juice But think about it.
Hmm.
Wine is mentioned biblically more than anything. Biblically.
Okay.
So you were
Really?
expected to consume wine, and it wasn't because they didn't have other choices. They could have been even in some of the churches where now they've substituted grape juice for wine. It's not really subscribing to the scriptures. It was wine that was the beverage.
Right. Huh. Isn't that something? Well, I like this rosé that I tried. I was very impressed with it. I told them that because when they brought it out to us, my husband told them she's not going to drink that. And, he put so much work into it. I wanted to experience everything. So that rosé wine, I was really impressed with. And again, I will not knock red wine until I try it, Warren. So I will add that to the
Well,
table.
I will say this. I was in a study at Johns Hopkins, and they gave me muscadine grape skins
Yeah.
in capsule form.
Hmm.
But 3 years it controlled my prostate cancer. That's absolute, and that's on the record.
Wow.
Muscadine grape skins, right there at Howard County,
Hmm.
and there was a study ran by Howard County and Johns Hopkins. 3 years, and they
Okay.
measured me. I had blood work just monthly. I did everything, and they measured me absolutely, and they controlled my cancer for 3 years, 36 months.
Wow. That's amazing. I um I always say food will affect your body and food will affect how you eat. So uh, the question is, what are some good focus foods? For me, it's nuts, berries, fruits, and vegetables. Raw vegetables I love with hummus. So that's my go-to focus food.
Well,
What do you think?
seeds are alive.
Hmm.
You can plant them.
Right,
You're not putting something dead in your body.
right. Like meat.
That has to be healthy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if you think about it, if you
right.
think about it, you're putting healthy things in your body. Nuts and seeds and stuff are going to be healthy because it's healthy.
Yeah,
Fermented food, your body loves that too.
fermented. And when you say fermented, we're talking cabbage. We're talking what else?
Well, a cabbage, wine,
Mhm. Well, of course, wine.
any a beer, or beer is only fermented grain, so it's not going to be bad for you. Of course, in excess, it's not good, but we're not talking about an excess because there's no reason for anything to be in excess if
Right,
your body is okay. If you're over drinking, overeating, something's to matter, and you have to fix that.
right. So Warren and I are not saying go and grab bottles of wine and bottles of beer and have a party. We said have a cup or two. Have a cup a day to
I
keep
think
your
it's
gut.
8 ounces for a man, 8 ounces for a man, and 6 ounces for a woman, and that's medicinal, and that's healthy.
And
In
there you go.
fact,
Hmm.
it's more healthy than not drinking at all.
Yeah. Okay. And that goes for drinking water since we're on drinks. Warren does not like to drink water, so he adds flavor to his water. I am okay with water. I enjoy drinking it a lot. David is not. So we add flavor. Well, we let David add whatever flavor he wants to his water, and he gets his water in that way. It's very important for you to hydrate your body and to flush your body out. And that, I think people need to understand that.
I think it's critical. As a
Yes.
matter of fact, it's critical. And some of the best athletes ever, the people that do marathons and stuff, if they go out there dehydrated, they can drop dead on the run. So hydration is absolutely critical. And what happens if you're dehydrated, everything is concentrated. All of these, it's not flowing. Everything concentrates, and
Right.
and and you don't want that. You need all of the fluid that you could possibly get. I think for an adult human being should be drinking a gallon of water a day, a gallon of fluid a day. I should say more so than a gallon of water. Like Vicky said, I don't drink a whole lot of water, and I'm now kind of changing that to drinking more water.
Hmm.
But you should drink at least a gallon of fluid a day. And
Right.
I think that's only 16 glasses. That's not a whole lot of water for the whole day.
That's not. You can knock that out. Every time you get up to walk, or every time you come out of the bathroom, you go to the bathroom, drink it, or come out the bathroom, drink it, or
Drink 8 ounces.
whenever you stand up, yep,
Sure.
drink it. So this is the last question we're going to take because I can't believe our time is almost up. But I cook to show my family love, and recently I stopped making my sweets the way I used to, and my husband says I don't love him anymore and that he'll get his sisters to cook for him. How can I fix this and let him know I'm trying to change our eating patterns for the better? Oh, that's a tough one.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that. That's love.
Right.
There's other ways to show love. Like things like this. There's foods like sweet potatoes is an excellent, excellent food, and it's a dessert in a lot of places.
Right. Right. Like I like a baked sweet potato. My problem was I was adding on brown sugar and butter and
Okay,
vanilla. I was trying
but
to make a pie out of it. Can't do
sure,
that.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. I don't think that's a bad thing. Put some raisins or pineapples in it. I don't think that that's a bad thing to do. You want
Okay.
to you want to thrive for five fruits and vegetables or
Hmm.
five fruits or vegetables a day. Whatever way you can get five in your body. That's what the USDA says, which is
Hmm.
what our government. That's what they're saying. Do
Right.
five. That's going to give you the flavonoids. That's going to give you the fiber. That's going to give you all the things that you have to be putting in your body.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm a fan of fiber. I'm trying to get my psyllium husk in every day, along with my sour salt powder. My next door neighbor just bought me some sour salt pulp, which I'm very excited about taking. I love the fact that my neighbors watch out for me whenever they see sour salt or moringa, fresh moringa, and chili peppers, which I'm now trying to add. I can't eat the chili peppers that they eat because it would burn a hole in the roof of my mouth. I don't even know how they eat that. They eat them raw. I can't do that. She told me I'm too Americanized. I'll take that. Warren, I just to smell it was burning a hole in my nose. I don't know how they eat this thing, but I will try everything else. But I'm trying to incorporate the sour soap and helium and almost everything that I drink and eat. So we do, and also pickled beets. I'm trying to make sure I eat beets for circulation. I just think beets are nasty.
I love beets, and my mother used to make a beet salad regularly. In fact, now I, I've been married a few times, and I kind of my mother used to teach them how to make pickled beets with string
Well,
beans.
I'm trying, Warren. It stains up so much. I mean, if you're gonna eat beets, be prepared for the stains. My God. Um, but I cannot believe this is the last 5 minutes. Warren, tell the people what you need to tell them before we get off the air.
Well, food is medicine, and
Yep.
it's called now nutraceuticals.
Loot.
That's what it is. So consider that as part of your. Try to put that in your nomenclature.
Okay.
Nutraceuticals, as opposed to like pharmaceuticals or so forth.
Hmm.
Nutraceuticals, and
Okay.
look for your nutrient. Read your nutrition facts on the label so you know what
Right.
you're getting. You know how much protein you get. They'll give you the percentage of protein you need a day, and what this particular product, what how much the product supplies. Like
Hmm.
with dietary fiber, I say if it's less than 4%, it's fake. It's not food.
Wow. Wow. Well, most of our food is fake, so that's where we are. Unfortunately, you really have to read the labels and make sure we're not eating plastic and wood chips, because the truck drivers are not driving and food shortage, they're predicting is coming around the corner. And we don't want to be fearful and we don't live in fear, but you need to be concerned and you need to be smart about the choices that you're making. I mean, we were told last weekend there's a shortage on bullets. And I'm thinking, my God, there's a shortage on bullets. Well, maybe that'll calm the world down from all these mass shootings. But then it hit us. Most of the people who are committing the crimes, don't have legal guns. So the same place they're getting their illegal guns, they'll get their illegal bullets from. So we're hoping things calm down and we get back to whatever normal it is that we can get back to.
Well, normal wasn't normal.
As I said, whatever normal it was.
Yeah, normal wasn't normal anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was toxic.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you sanitize everything, then your body won't know what to fight.
Yeah. And
I mean, if you're never exposed to a disease, your body won't know what to do with it when you are that, which is the problem now with the COVID. So they wipe everything down and everything else with alcohol and kill everything else. And the same thing we do with our body. We put antibiotics in there. It's killing your immune system indiscriminately. Period. They don't even know what it's killing. It's just like wiping out your immune system, which started when your mother was breastfeeding you when you were a baby.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, our bodies don't know what to do with these viruses that are going on. So all we can do right now is, again, eat to live and to try to give our bodies what it needs so that we can survive. So I'm Victorianne Russell Walton with IITG Season Sisters Speak. We're sorry we weren't available to have Miss Pina on. We're not for sure what happened. But as always, Warren and I held the fort down and discussed grief and grief eating. And hopefully we can have her back on our show at a later time. So Warren, I appreciate you coming in and speaking, as always, giving us the knowledge that we need to be whole and healthy. And remember, what you put in your body affects everything, your mood swings, your appearance. It affects all of your aspects in your life. You want to be whole and healthy. And again, eat to live, not live to eat. So Warren, thank you for being on the show. We look forward to chatting with you later this week.
Yes, thank you. We have to talk because okay.
Yes, it is. We got a lot to do. And then remember, it's Pinktober. Watch out for those scams. And if you want to support somebody in your community that you know are doing the work. You know those people are doing the work in your community. Make sure you support them and give them what they need so they can continue to be your support. I'm Victorianne Russell Walton. This is IITG Season Sisters Speak. We thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Bye, everyone. Bye, Warren.
Bye.